Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us at the LaunchPreneur Experience. And today I'm here with Linda Barutha, and I'm so excited to share everything that we have been talking behind the scenes that I had no idea. She just blew my mind with the stuff that she's going to share today. So today she's going to talk about Pinterest takes the lead. And we really wanted to support you with using leveraging Pinterest to fill your launches and to create a return on investment to sell your products and offers. So Linda Barutha, she is a tech savvy online marketing specialist, and she has been helping online coaches and service providers to grow their 6+ figure business. And welcome, Linda. I would love for you to share with the audience a little bit about your background and what you do and how you have been serving everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is really great. It's a great experience. I love it. My background, I have been a tech person from back in my corporate days, and I've been an entrepreneur for the past 20 years. And so very comfortable with tech, but I have kind of zeroed in on the beauty of using search engines, as in SEO, instead of social media to grow your following and to actually gain clients. So that's kind of what I do. And my favorite one is using the power of Pinterest. What most people don't realize is that Pinterest is not social media. It is actually a search engine. So the top 3 search engines, Google is number 1, YouTube, which is owned by Google, is number 2, and then number 3 is Pinterest. So there's a lot more power involved when you utilize Pinterest to get the attention of new prospects, if you will.
Which was, for me, was mind-blowing, knowing that Pinterest is not a social media platform. And even like everywhere I go, Pinterest is listed as a social media platform, right? And when you mentioned that it's actually a search engine platform, it makes sense, because when I need something, very often, I would say 80% of the time, I go to Pinterest to find first. Like, how do I stain a countertop? I go to Pinterest. I don't go to Google. I don't go to YouTube. I go to Pinterest. Right. How to paint whatever it is. What I am doing right now, unless it's for services, that I use Google, but I just learned from you that actually people are using Pinterest to find services as well, which is
they are. Amazing. That's another myth, is that that Pinterest is only for foodies, recipes, and home decor and stuff like that. It's way more than that. If you go out there and you do a search for online business coaches, you are going to see a slew of them. There is so much content. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because bloggers were one of the very first to adopt utilizing Pinterest to grow their business. And the majority of them had no physical product. They had a service. As a matter of fact, back in the day, when I first started on Pinterest, I remember I was way into blogging back then. And I was taking the approach from being a crafter, okay? And I remember I couldn't wrap my head around, how are these people making money, right? Mm-hmm. But they do. Bloggers, service providers. It's not just, recipes.
Yeah. So for the strategist point of view, how does Pinterest work in terms of creating SEO to the website, or how is the process with, creating a pin that will actually serve whatever purpose you have your strategy?
Right. So there's a couple things, but it first starts with looking at your content differently. Okay. You can turn a pin into, take any piece of content. It could be a video. It can be a Facebook Live. It can be a Instagram reel. It can be your lead magnets that you create. Not just, and your blog posts, of course. Any cornerstone content that you create can be turned into a pin on Pinterest. So you start out by creating a business account on Pinterest, which is free. And then you claim your website on it so that the two are kind of connected. And then you start creating pins, which are just graphics that will direct them to the fresh URL of where that content resides. Okay?
So it's basically a redirect.
Right, right. It works like that. So what happens is somebody sees one of my pins on Pinterest. They click on it to go read it. That means they go to my website, right? So even if they never even from that point forward do anything else, they have already helped me, because every time you're getting traffic to click over to your website, it's improving your overall rankings, if you will, with Google, because Google pays close attention to what's happening, right? And so it's helping your Pinterest account. It's helping the end user who clicked. They got some information. They found out a little bit about you. And it helps you with your SEO as well. So the more you do that, like on average, we create 4 or 5 pins for each fresh URL that we're pinning to. So it's like 5 redirects, right? Then there's this beautiful thing called Tailwind. And Tailwind is not just a scheduler. They are very, very tight with Pinterest. And so they have community tribes. You can join those from your Pinterest account. And when you do that, it's like each of you are acting as an ambassador and resharing pins. Your reach is so much greater. You know, my reach right now on Pinterest is like 600,000 people. Wow. I can never do that on social media. No. And not only that, but what other benefits am I going to get out of the social media? Nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, when you compare it to utilizing a search engine.
And I love what is said about starting out with repurposing the content that you already have, which is huge, because a lot of us, you know, when you're starting out, or if you're a busy entrepreneur, it's hard for you to stop to create content. When you repurpose, you're already using something you have. And now what you're doing is redirecting to some places where you want to create the SEO so you can actually be on the top of the Google search engine, which brings us to the point where when you're launching and you're launching your offers, right, your high ticket offers, especially, people don't want to buy from people that they have never heard before, or they don't want to buy from people that they don't trust. Now they search your name and you come on the top of the, you know, Google, or they search the service you provide that it's connected to all of those pins you have made. Now you rank on the top. They're more likely to trust you as a professional or your services and to take the next step with you, right?
Right. And it's interesting, even every podcast episode, you know, some people have a podcast. You have to have show notes. Put those show notes on your website. Don't put it on some other service provider. put everything on your website and point it back. And so you're always repurposing all the time. And to me, that is working smarter.
So I have one burning question that is going to go, and I know your answer already, but it's going to go against what a lot of people are saying. You don't need a website. So actually, you need a website.
You do if you want to take advantage of the search engines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people say, and it's true, when you're first starting out, you don't need a website. I know plenty of people that don't have one and they make a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I view things for long term.
Right.
So I'm building my business to be sustained. And it's therefore, I want that presence. And when I talk about ROI, return on your investment, yes, a website's an investment, but when you are repurposing and getting all that traffic consistently coming from the search engines to your website, you're going to get a return on your investment.
So this, and I just want to you just gave me that bird's eye view right now that I didn't have. So I appreciate that. So what I see is when you're launching your offer, you have either a masterclass, you're using, utilizing virtual events, strategies to actually promote your offers.
Right.
What we do is we create a landing page, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want them to be all distracted on the website. We want them to have one action only. And that's why we create the landing page.
Right.
Register for the website, for the workshop, for the live launch, for, the masterclass, for whatever you are offering. Now, Linda, would you share what you shared with me? Because that was genius. How can you have your landing page actually connected to your website and use that strategy to connect it all together to actually increase your SEO and also direct people after they took that action, to register? What's the next step?
Yeah. For me, anytime I'm hosting any type of event, especially launching, which we're about to go into again, that landing page is on my website. Mm-hmm. So, and then I turn that into a pin. So now there's graphics on Pinterest that are directing them to that landing page. Mm-hmm. And so if they're interested in that graphic, and the reason too that we make 4 or 5 different graphics for the same URL is because people are different. Some visuals they like, some they don't. Mm. So in a way, you're kind of testing the waters, but I do highly encourage you to stay branded. Yeah. That's the other thing. That's very important. You want people to recognize your branding.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. As a matter of fact, it doesn't mean, like Linda was saying before, it doesn't mean that if you don't have a website, you're not going to be successful. If you don't have branding, you're not going to be successful. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is when you have branding, anywhere you go, people will remember, oh, that person that used purple and gold, everywhere she goes, oh, this is so-and-so.
Yeah.
And they remember, and that the brain, there's a psychological thing that happens in the brain. It's like, for example, when we were doing a launch, and what happened is this coach had so many different graphics for the same thing that people could not remember which one was what. So they're getting confused. They're asking questions. You want your audience to be very clear about how they're going to take that step with you. Yeah. So branding, I believe it's very important. It doesn't have to be something fancy. You can pick like 2 colors as long as it's consistent in every platform.
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
And what do you see like one of the biggest mistakes people do with Pinterest?
Well,
or they leave money on a table, actually, with Pinterest.
Yeah, they don't. First, one thing is they don't keep the repurposing concept at the top of their mind. Like my mind always goes there. Anytime we are creating anything, I am always thinking, how can I turn this into a pin? Can I turn this into a pin? Right? So that's the first thing, because I want to get the most out of that content. I don't know more of this one and done, you know what I mean? Like, no, and I could go off on talking about content further, but I won't. But Pinterest, the other thing that I see people do is they don't do a good enough job of knowing their ideal client so that they're writing headlines that speak to them, that call them out, that you want your headline to pull them in, right? So you need to give a lot more thought to that. That makes a difference. And then like what my team does is we actually like research the keywords that you should be using for that ideal client. And then we put those into Pinterest. So Pinterest knows, ahead of time, like, okay, Linda's a digital marketer and she's, these are the most common keywords, lead generation, all of that. Yeah.
So with hashtags and keywords, are those different than Instagram? Is like if they have a hashtag that they use everywhere, are they going to be the same for Pinterest, or there's a specific strategy behind Pinterest hashtags and, keywords, I mean?
Well, keywords, you have to use keywords on your website as well as Pinterest. Funny that you mentioned Instagram, because they recently went to Google to get permission to be a search engine instead of social media. That is why you will see more changes on Instagram with their hashtags. Because if they are going to do that and be considered a search engine, they will need to use the same format that Google looks for, which is a keyword.
Okay, so that it's huge, because that tells me that Instagram already sees Pinterest as the biggest new thing, so they don't want to be behind.
So, yeah, it's just like when they brought out Reels because of TikTok. It's the exact same thing. So they see Pinterest now as competition, finally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they also realize that Pinterest is more valuable than them. Because think about this a minute. When you put your content on Pinterest, you have now made it evergreen.
Totally.
With evergreen content, to me, is game changer, right? Like, I love it to no end, because now you can't say that about any social media.
No. So
try and find something that you posted yesterday.
Yes, totally. And here's another thing too. If you're launching every 6 weeks, every other month or every quarter, what you want is to have that your evergreen registration page live, so that you don't have to be recreating and re-engaging and redoing all the ads. Doesn't mean that you're not going to do it, but at least you have that evergreen that people are always going to be registering. Okay, my event is over. Waiting list. They click in there, go to your waiting list. Now you're open. They click in there.
Yes.
Hey, 20,000 people repin this.
Yes.
So guess what? That's going to be always live. Yeah. So for us that are, especially right now, struggling with Facebook ads, having an evergreen content is just like priceless.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Linda, I love everything that I learned today, because I have Pinterest and I didn't even understand the power of Pinterest. So I appreciate everything you have shared with us today. It's been like such a pleasure to, be in your circle, because we actually, Linda and I, we are in a community with the other women, and like a networking community for women
Yes.
entrepreneurs. And we are actually on the same pod. So we have been connecting in a different level. And I love everything you're doing and the way you
Thanks.
work and your strategies. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. And
Yeah.
Linda has a free gift for everybody that registered. You should have received already a Pinterest beginners checklist that will help you use the power of Pinterest to generate leads and increase your SEO. And now we know why that's important, right?
Yep.
And also she has a VIP gift for the VIP experience. If you have not upgraded yet, I'm going to let her share what she's giving to everybody that actually upgrade their experience.
Yes, I'm super, super excited about this. So we are going into, my company, we do full concierge Pinterest service right now, which is a high ticket item. It is, because it's full concierge, it's called Pin to Win. And people have been waiting for a lower cost option. And so that is actually launching in mid-December. So your guests are the only ones that I am giving this VIP gift to, which is that you can get 1 month free.
Wow.
In Pin to Win Academy, which is huge because that's where I go live every week and I am training you in a private setting, showing you exactly how to set up what we talked about.
Amazing. I am feeling so grateful right now. Thank you so much. And also, don't forget that all the speakers, we're going to be giving feedback for you. We want this to be an experience where you actually are going to plan your next steps after each interview. So Linda, what is the action step you would like them to post on the Facebook group for feedback?
Well, first thing is go through that beginner's checklist and create your first pin if you haven't already done so, and share it with us in the Facebook group so that I can give you feedback, or you can ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer your questions and to help you get started in using Pinterest, because it really is powerful.
I'm also taking that action step.
Good.
Thank you so much, Linda. I so appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching us live. Not live, but watching us here today and this LaunchPreneur experience. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you.